Okay. Hello, namaste, good morning, good afternoon. We here again bring another session on Sugin. We have Tamas with us today, who is going to tell us how we can be an MVP. Before we start, I would like to introduce Pratik Satikuvar and Alok Karudeshmukh. Hello. We are taking them on our team as Sugin coordinators. We are looking for more Sugin coordinators. We need more hands to organize these sessions. If you are interested, please reach out to us, and we will be, you will be part of our team. So, handing over to you, Pratik.
Thanks. So, welcome everyone to 10th session of Sitecore User Group India. Today's topic is about how to become a Sitecore MVP. Recently, we seen that 2019 Sitecore MVP announced, and lots of people have questions. What it all takes to become a Sitecore MVP, and we have a person best fit for that to answer all your queries. So we have Tamas with us, sharing all the secrets of becoming Sitecore MVP. Tamas is a senior technical evangelist at Sitecore. He's working on Sitecore for more than 10 years now, and he also look after the Sitecore MVP program. So, Tamas, over to you. I'm making you the presenter.
Thank you and welcome everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. I hope there are many people who would like to see this presentation. So let's share my screen. So the topic I'm talking about is how to become an MVP. And, first of all, let's talk about, what is the MVP award? So Sitecore each year selects the most valuable professionals and recognize those individuals with a passion of sharing their knowledge and expertise through active participation in online and offline Sitecore communities. Why it is important? Because Sitecore is found to be one of the best community in the online world, in the CMS systems. So for us, it's really important to recognize individuals who share their expertise and spend time on their own to help others. But it's really important that the Sitecore MVP award is not a certification. If you think about the Sitecore MVP award, and when I'm talking about how to become a Sitecore MVP, maybe it's more important you ask yourself, why do you want to be a Sitecore MVP? And it is important because for some people, becoming a Sitecore MVP is a goal itself. But I would recommend to everyone that you don't become your goal shouldn't be to become a Sitecore MVP. Your goal should be to share your knowledge, to share your passion about Sitecore. And as soon as you do that, the community and Sitecore will recognize you. So becoming a Sitecore MVP will be a consequence of your work, what you do. And what kind of work we are talking about here? I emphasized a lot that it's an individual contribution. So even if your boss would like you to be an MVP, most probably it will not happen unless yourself would like to be involved with the community. And the second biggest thing is that it should be beyond your day job. If it's your day job to create awesome projects or some implementations of Sitecore for a customer, this is why you get your salary. But in the Sitecore MVP award, we are looking for individuals who are contributing beyond their day job. For some people, it could be probably 5-10 hours per week. And of course, it includes self-learning on this topic and so on. But it's important that if you learn something, please share it. You might know that we have 4 categories currently in the MVP program. The technology category is the oldest, and as Sitecore is a technology platform, it was something what we started to recognize people on. But as Sitecore grow, over the years, we introduced a new category for strategy, because implementing Sitecore is one thing, but knowing the strategy, why to implement something in such a way, is also at least as important. So we have a strategy category for more than 5 years now. Commerce came in a couple of years ago because commerce is such a different topic, and we would like to recognize individuals who really active on this topic. Commerce is so broad, and in some case it's a little bit different than just the CMS technology. So we thought that having a commerce category will really help someone to be recognized and on their work on this field. And of course, in some case, it can be a little bit different than technology only. Ambassador is the newest category we have, because we feel that there are individuals who provide value and, for example, influencing customers and decision makers, but also providing product feedback and references. But sometimes these people are not that visible for the community, because maybe they were developers a couple of years ago, but they become architects or they become CTOs of agencies or companies. So they don't really have time to blog and be on Slack all the time, but still their contribution is really valuable, not only for Sitecore, but for the whole community. Let's talk about the qualities, what we are looking for when we are considering someone selecting as an MVP. And most probably most of you is looking for the technical field. So let's look at the technology category. The first and foremost, it's really important that we are looking for quality contribution over quantity. So anytime you think about your contribution, it just shouldn't be about like how many this or how many that. It should be around what kind of quality contribution you make. You can be involved with the community on different channels. Can it be social media? Can it be community.sitecore.net, or base where Sitecore enthusiasts are connected? But can be also the Sitecore Slack channels, where you can find many people, and you can get instant answers to your questions in multiple channels. But if your question is something what you would like to save for the eternity, you should use Sitecore Stack Exchange. This is the opportunity for you to ask question, even answer your question if you found the answer later on. It's not a problem if you ask a question and answer it. And on Stack Exchange, you can grow your reputation. Every question and every answer versus reputation. So you can go there and easily be recognized by the community. You can also consider contributing to an open source module. You can start a new project yourself, or you can contribute to an existing module. It's always welcome to have these kind of open source modules solving some particular problems. The events are the next big thing. Attending a conference is always great, but speaking is the real opportunity to share your expertise. So look for the next user group in your region, look for webinars or conferences, apply for the call for papers, and share your knowledge. Sharing your expertise on blog post is one of the way many people doing that. But again, we are looking for not quantity, but quality. So before blogging about something, please check if someone else has already written about that topic and reference it while you are adding something new to it. Please do not repeat the same post or the same topic in a blog post, because that's just not useful. This is not a quality. Also, it's really important that the MVP award is announced year by year, because we are looking contribution year by year. This means you should keep up what you are doing month by month. So it's luckily we are at the beginning of the year, So if you would like to share your expertise this year and you are hopeful MVP for next year, you should start doing right now if you haven't done so. And do it month by month, and please contribute on the quality side, not on the quantity. And it's also really important for us to provide product feedback. Every feedback about the product helps us. You can submit a ticket on the support portal, you can share it in a blog post, or you can contact any of the MVPs or any of the Sitecore employees, and we will listen. Most recently, based on the discussion with MVPs, we have changed the NuGet feeds, but we have released 4.9.1, and it was a change compared to the 9.0 version. And based on the discussion with MVPs, we made the whole NuGet feeds for the package distribution much better. So those kind of feedbacks we are always looking for. But let's talk about the selection process. It's really important for you to understand, what is the whole process about. Every November, we are starting this selection process. An invitation should be done either by an existing MVP or a Sitecore employee. Everyone who would like to apply for the Sitecore MVP award should be invited. You will receive an invitation email. You should create an account on the Sitecore MVP website. Fill in the application form. You don't have to fill it in once. You can save it for later, but you have to submit your application no later than end of November. What happens then? The review process is starting, which is usually 2 months, December and January. This year, over 90 people was involved in the review. This means current MVPs are reviewing new applications. New applications mean that someone was not an MVP last year. Also, corporate teams are reviewing all the applications, meaning the commerce team reviewing all the commerce applications, the strategy team, the ESMOS team at Sitecore reviewing all the strategy applications. The technical marketing team is reviewing all the technology applications, and so on. But also we are involved in the regional teams. Of course, we understand different regions can have different events and different working environments and so on. So we are involving all the regional teams in the review. So every time you submit your application, a minimum 2, but most of the time 3 people is reviewing your application. After that, the technical marketing team is summarizing all the reviews, and we are doing meetings with the reviewers to make sure that the reviews are aligned and the decision is all about aligned with the MVP award qualities, what we are looking for. And when we have the final decision, after all these meetings with these 90 people, we are doing our final decision and we are notifying the award winners a couple of days before the announcement. And on the day of the announcement, we are also notifying the applicants who were not selected. The announcement is usually by the end of January. Let's see MVPs by categories and numbers over the years. The MVP program started in 2008. We started statistics running from 2011. And you can see in 2014, the digital strategist category or strategy category joined. And all categories grew over the year. And last year, when we introduced ambassadors, the technology category went a little bit shorter, and we had a new category ambassador. In 2019, we have 74 ambassadors, 18 commerce MVPs, 37 strategy MVPs, and 186 technology MVPs. So still the technology category is one of the biggest. And altogether, we have 315 MVPs in 2019. But the Sitecore MVP program is not just an award. What we are doing different activities throughout the year with the MVPs. We are doing webinars where we introduce new products or features to the MVPs, but sometimes we are doing product feedback sessions when the Sitecore MVPs are invited to provide feedback on a feature what we are planning or what we are currently implementing. Sometimes we have regional meetings, and I think one of the most important thing is the early access program. So MVPs signing an agreement with Sitecore where they agree that they will not disclose any features. So it's also called NDA. So we can give them early access to our releases. For every major release and every dot release, and every time when we feel that MVPs should be involved, we are doing an early access program. We have done that for the last version of Horizon, and we will do that for the next 9.2 release later on, most probably in April, May. The MVP Summit is a gathering where we are celebrating the MVP award winners, individuals. This is usually after a symposium, and we are bringing a lot of Sitecore folks from the product teams and from the management team to meet the MVPs. We are doing sessions where they can learn about the roadmap, they can discuss new features, we have roundtable discussion on certain topics, and of course we have some party because that's part of the celebration. But there are some other benefits. For example, if you would like to go a user group conference, you get a discounted ticket as an MVP. If you would like to go to symposium, again, you get a discounted ticket. But also at symposium, MVPs can sit in the first rows in the general sessions. And there are some other benefits throughout the year. As much as we can, we would like to honor the MVP's contribution with different perks. But how the whole year looked like for an MVP? As I mentioned, the MVP award is announced in January, followed by a kickoff webinar in February, where we lay out the year, we discuss what kind of activities they can expect, and also we talk about some of the roadmap, and we introduce the different category leaders. In March, we have another webinar, and we discuss different specific topics about the product. This year, the User Group Conference Europe will be in April in London. If you would like to register, you can still do that. We have 1 month to go to this event. But if you are in India, we have a User Group Conference in India, which will happen in May in Bangalore. I think that's a best event to start your networking and meeting the community. You can meet a lot of MVPs there, and of course, you can start sharing your knowledge. In June, we will have another webinar. And of course, July and August, only summer on the Northern Hemisphere, but doesn't really happen anything during this time. Most people taking vacation. So in July and August, MVPs are just using Slack to discuss what's important for them. In September, we will have the next early access for the next 9.2 release, and we will distribute that to the MVPs. In October, we have usually Symposium and MVP Summit, which this year it will be in November. So November will be a really busy month with all the MVP nomination starting, and also Symposium and MVP Summit. And also, as I mentioned, the MVP selection starting in December again. And this is repeating year by year by year. As I mentioned, the next event where you can meet the community is April in Europe and May in India. Let's look at those, and you can register still for those events. I do have a couple of questions that people usually ask me, so I thought that why don't create a slide about them. One of the first and most important one, how can I connect with the Sitecore community? So luckily, on Sitecore Stack Exchange, you can find this question, and there is a really, really long answer there. So if you are interested how you can connect with the Sitecore community, please go to Sitecore Stack Exchange and look for this question, and you will find a lot of information there, and I'm sure that you will like what you can see there. I also mentioned Sitecore Slack, and some people who are not on Slack, even though we have more than 4,000 people on Slack, it can be a question how to sign up. Use this link, bit.ly/Sitecore Slack sign up, and you will get to a Google form. If you fill in that form, the Sitecore community who is running the Sitecore Slack will give you access to the Sitecore community Slack. Sometimes it's a question, what can I do on Twitter? First of all, if you are interested in the MVP program, please follow Sitecore MVP account, and you can find some news and the important announcements there. Also, if you would like to follow all the MVPs in 2019, go to Twitter/Sitecore/list, and you can find the Sitecore 2019 MVPs. And just following this list, you can follow all the MVPs. Of course, you can also follow Sitecore @Sitecore and also #Sitecore, and you can learn more about the wider ecosystem. And every time you post something, and if you use #Sitecore, then you can make sure that everyone in the community will see your tweet, and many people in our community is happy to share, like, and retweet your content. Also, a common question, how to contact the Sitecore MVP team. The easiest if you go to the website for information, but you can always email us at mvp-program@sitecore.com. If you have any questions, you can go and find the MVPs at the Sitecore community site. You can join the conversation on Sitecore Slack channels, and you can ask questions at Sitecore Stack Exchange. But of course, as we are at a webinar, you can ask your question now. How do we do with questions?
So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. If anyone has any question, they can post to YouTube live chat, and we can pick those questions. I think your webinar was very informative. I think you covered most of the things, like from MVP program and calendar, normal questions people do have, which you already posted on Stack Exchange, and how to reach Sitecore MVP. And so most of the things are covered, but still we'll wait for a couple of minutes. If anyone have any question, specific question, then we take them.
Okay.
Tamas, we have one question from Balaji.
Okay.
It is like, do we have any point system for MVP that we give some points to once they become MVP or that contribute to community, we provide some points to them and that will be helpful for them. Is there anything like that?
So we do not have an official point system, but I just read a blog post from one of the MVPs who suggested for yourself implement this kind of point system, so you can always know where you are with your progress. But officially, Sitecore doesn't have this kind of point system.
Okay.
Again, it will be a little bit hard because, as I mentioned, blogging is really good, but sometimes we have seen in the past some people went for quantity, and what we are looking for is quality. I think the best measure, if you ask me, how to become an MVP, I tell it to everyone. Actually, at the end of the day, not Sitecore deciding who should be an MVP and who should be not. But if your name is known by the community, if I ask any existing MVPs, if you heard about this person, I think that's the best measurement. Because if you are with the community, if you are asking questions on Stack Exchange, or if you are joining the conversation on Slack, or doing anything on the community site, existing MVPs will recognize you, and they are happy to help you. And if they help you and if they cooperate with you, they will know your name. So for me, the best measure who should be an MVP is the one who is recommended by an existing MVP because they know their name, because they know their contribution.
Okay, I think they got the point. The next question is from Anandita and Gaurav. It is like, is there any difference between in process of reviewing candidates that is for first time and the existing MVP?
You got that, Tamas?
Yes, I can. Yes, I heard it. So I would say that the only difference is that existing MVPs are not reviewed. Are you here?
We are not able to hear you. Can you come again?
Hello?
Yep. Can you just repeat what you just said?
Yes. So the only difference is mainly that the existing MVPs are not reviewed by another MVP, but all the other things should be the same. There is, this is the only difference.
Okay, I think I have one question on that one. Like for existing MVP, is that only the past year's contribution will be taken care, or for first timer it will be the overall contribution till now of that person will be accountable. So is there a difference?
Just a little bit. So for us, since this award is like an annual award, we are evaluating year by year. We cannot take multiple years of contribution. We can only look, let's say, 1 year or maybe 1.5 years, but it's not about like looking 3 years back. But of course, if someone is contributing continuously month by month, then I think it shouldn't be a problem.
All right.
There is one more question from Anandita. That is there any specific weightage for the contribution type? For example, blog having this much weightage, or the module is having this much weightage. Is there any specific kind of thing?
Yes and no. So again, if you have only one blog post in 1 year, but that blog post is a quality blog post, I can, for example, mention, I don't know if you remember the Sitecore Cognitive Services module. And Mark Stiles worked on this module for many, many months. And he released one module and one blog post that year. But that contribution was way much more than someone blogging 100 articles. So I would say that yes, in some way, blogging maybe a little bit less. For example, speaking at a user group conference or symposium is a little bit more. But like one presentation at the user group will not give you the same value just to get an MVP award.
Okay, we have another question from Alex. Like, is it necessary to have recommendation from other MVPs or Sitecore MVP employees? And if yes, then how to get those recommendations? Best way to get those recommendations?
Yeah, so you cannot apply without being invited. So this kind of recommendation also includes invitation. So as I mentioned, for me, the biggest measurement if an MVP knows your name and knows your contribution. So if you work with the community throughout the year, this means that you will meet at least one MVP you are working with. And also, if you, for example, in the strategy category, you are working with Sitecore on some engagements, or if you are working on commerce, you are working on some commerce projects, you will meet either the Sitecore commerce product team or someone from Sitecore. So this is a requirement to have at least one recommendation or invitation to the applications. But I think if you are doing anything what I just mentioned before, you will meet either an MVP or a Sitecore employee, and they will be happy to recommend you if they feel your contribution worthwhile.
Great. So there is one question from Naresh. Will there be a priority given for candidates having more number of recommendations? So again, it is a quantity versus quality.
Yes, you have to have minimum one, but if you have 30, it's maybe not. We still have to look at your application. So if all your MVP friends are recommending you, definitely it worth a little bit more, but we still need to check your application and your contribution. So again, you shouldn't beg 30 people for an invitation or recommendation. If you have one and your application is strong enough, we will look at that, and you will most probably get the MVP award.
Okay. And one question from Raj Singh. Is it actually matters to write a certification exam? So I think he was asking that is it compulsory to being a Sitecore certified developer to become a Sitecore MVP?
It is not compulsory to be a Sitecore certified developer or have any Sitecore certification. Of course, it's always good to have for you or for your career, but it doesn't really contribute to the community. So it's your own certification. We don't need it, but you will most probably have it if you are with the Sitecore community.
Okay, I think we have one more question from Amit. Like recommendation and invitation are both the different things, or those are same?
No, so it's the same thing in a way that every time when someone is doing a recommendation, if that's the first person who recommended you, you will get the invitation. After that, if someone else is recommending you, you will not get the invitation to fill in the application form because you have already been invited. So the first recommendation includes the invitation, and that's it.
All right. We do have one more question from Sri Krishnan. Is the criteria is it necessary to have the said contributions like blogs, community participation modules for that particular year, or previous contributions are also valid with the new contributors?
I think Tamas answered that, like it's already they contribute, they take into 1.5 year, not more than that.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Thomas, I have like a personal question, not related to this MVP being an MVP, but you are sharing your slides about this the flow that we have, the new flow that we introduced, like setting out the emails. Is it really coming out from Sitecore, like it's a marketing automation? Has that platform been automated, or it's not on the slides?
So this marketing automation slide was created using a Visio diagram, and one of our community members created these Visio diagrams. So look for the Sitecore Visio template, and you will find this marketing automation diagram there, what you can use, and you can create anything from there. It's not official Sitecore, but it's really well used in the community.
Okay.
So I think we do have one question which is not directly connected with MVP. The question is from Raj Singh. that how can someone enhance the Sitecore knowledge if there are not enough projects with the organization we are working for. So Brijesh, if you want to answer.
Usually what we do is, like here at HI, I will share, we try, to have a learning curve. So we ask people to do some training exercise themselves. That is how we will get, hands-on and then follow the Sitecore community itself, because there are a lot of blogs out there, a lot of MVPs out there who share, the active Sitecore content that can help us out in what's going on new in Sitecore, and the documentation is also now improving for Sitecore, like doc.sitecore.net, it's improving a lot now. So that is where like you can start, even if you're not having active projects, that is the place we should be looking for.
And you can also take a particular topic like SXA or commerce or something like that, do research on that, and you can be a master of that particular topic.
Yeah.
And that way you can improve your knowledge.
And the developer license is back, 60 days trial developer license is back, so that can help.
Thanks to Sitecore.
Okay.
Yep, so those are the questions we got till now. Let's wait for a couple of minutes if you got any question, and otherwise we will conclude.
Yeah.
Yes, and always you can reach the Sitecore team or the Sitecore technical marketing team on Twitter or Slack or email. So if you have a question later on, don't hesitate to find us on these channels, and we are happy to answer your questions.
Sure. Thank you, Tamas. Thanks for this valuable information which you provided, and thanks for the time on the weekend. And I will also like to thank all the attendees who taken some time in their weekend time.
Sorry to interrupt. We have last question, I think, from Amit.
Okay.
So he's asking, does it mean that during recommendation, one MVP need to enter contribution, and if no invitation earlier than its invitation, otherwise directly recommendation submitted?
Well, I'm not sure if I get that, but the main thing is that you cannot fill in the application form without being invited. So to be able to fill in the application form, you have to have the invitation, and with the first recommendation, you will get your invitation. Is it clear?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much for joining with us. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.